Okay, to start off with, this song's in a different tuning. So from the bottom to the top string, you're going to want to tune your E down to a low D, then your A down to a B, keep the D the same, and the G and the B, and then tuning your high E down to a D. To avoid confusion, I'm going to refer to them as the same notes they originally are, so E, A, D, G, B, E, just because it's easier for me in my head. The hardest part about this song really is your introduction. It's quite fast and there's a lot of riffs to learn. The introduction starts off fairly slow with a lot of pull-offs and a lot of hammer-ons. So if you're not brilliant at those, this is a good chance to practice. I'll just play through the main riff that gets repeated quite a lot in the introduction first, and then I'll take you through it. So you're starting off on an open A, then pulling off from the third to open, then moving up to the D and pulling off second, then going back to third on A, then pulling off third to open on D, then moving back to third on A. So altogether that's... And then this is the tricky bit, you've got to quickly move up to working on the G and B strings and hammering from the third to the fifth, and then third on the B. So altogether it should sound like this. Once you've worked out how to fit all those hammer-ons and pull-offs into your playing style efficiently, you'll be able to speed it up, which eventually is what happens. You play that piece about 4 times over, then the drums and bass and the rest of the instruments come in and carry the guitar forwards at a much faster pace. I don't think you actually increase the tempo of your guitar a lot, but the whole band together pushes the riff to make it sound a lot faster. So you're playing this. And then a little way into the faster section, Josh Homme changes riffs into something like this. Again, lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs using the open strings. So you're starting off with a double strum on the A string, then hammering on from the third to the fifth, and then pulling off from the third to open on the D string, landing on the 5th fret of the A. So far I've got, and then you're playing the open D again twice, and then doing sort of a triple pull off from 5th to 3rd to open A. So you'll play that as well for a little while. I think it's 4 rotations again. After that you play basically all the open low strings muted, keeping in time with the rhythm of the drums. So you'll go, then you'll jump straight back into that second riff. You'll play that 4 times over, then you'll come back to going, then you go back to the first riff. You'll play that about 4 times, and then you come to the riff that sort of finishes the introduction and starts to slow it down again. So it's a double strum on the open A. In fact, it's a triple strum. And then you're doing the hammering on from 3rd to 5th on the G, and then the 3rd on the B. You play that for 2 rotations, and that's pretty much the introduction. As you can see, it's quite fast paced, lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs. Once you get past that and you become confident in playing it, you'll pretty much be able to keep up with the rest of the song. So after that, it slows down again, and you'll be playing a chord progression which handily, because of the tuning, leaves most of the strings just to be played openly, and then you're just going to use your index finger to slide up the lead note of the chord. So you're starting off with your index finger on the 3rd fret of the B, and you want to keep the chords quite sharp and compressed. So it's 3rd, 6th, 8th, and then on the 11th you'll bend up, muting the G string. You're just playing that rhythm in keeping with the drums, and sometimes he does variate and hold it back for a little while and then play on the offbeat, which does get quite complicated. But if you're just playing along to the track, if you keep playing that same rhythm, you'll end up at the same finishing point as he does in terms of timing. Once he finishes those chord progressions, he puts a finisher onto them. There's 2 main ones, and then there's 2 ones which he sometimes uses in live performances, which I'll teach you as well. And they're based around sliding on the B string, so it's like this. Starting off on the 6th on the B, double strumming, and then sliding up to the 8th fret, playing the 8th again, sliding down to the 3rd on the B string, hopping over to the G string on the 3rd, double strumming and sliding up to the 7th, sliding down to the 6th, and then quickly to the 3rd. That's the first finisher. The second one just stays on the B string instead, so you'll do the same thing from 4 to 6 to 3, and then from 3 you slide all the way up to the 15th, and then you triple strum. Something like that. The other 2 finishes you can throw in, you're on the 14th fret of the B string, you triple strum that, moving up to the 15th, 17th, and then back to 14th. The other one he does is he plays the 14th once, then bending on the 17th, coming back down to the 17th, 15th, and then 14th. Something like that. That's the rhythm section for a large portion of the song, and that's played high up on the guitar in terms of tone. The more bassy rhythm that you can also play if you want is based around the notes used on the introduction. So you'll be playing the open low notes in time with the drums, and then you'll be using the 3rd and 5th frets on the A string to do something like this. As long as you're in keeping with the rhythm, so you can change it from going to. Sometimes when he's finished the 4 round, you go 3rd and 5th on the A, jumping to 3rd on the D, and then 5th and 3rd on the A strings, and then finishing on the open low notes again. That's pretty much a rhythm section for the verses of the song. After that, they move to the chorus, and you're doing a double stop on the G and B strings 5th fret, and then holding that for a little while, adding your own accents and strums to it. Then on the B string, you're sliding from 5th to the 8th. You're strumming it in a fairly consistent rhythm, not quite going, but slightly slower than that. So you're sliding from 5th to the 8th, and then to the 11th. And then the distinctive part of the chorus, which goes, it uses these notes. You can change them around depending on what you want to improvise, but it's using on the G string 7th, 9th, 10th and 12th. Stuff like that, and you can base it around the vocal parts, or you can just add your own improvisation. And then you're going to move up in the same scale to 10th, 11th, 13th and 15th. And you'll play something along the lines of this. So you're going from 13th to 15th to 11th, and then just alternating between playing 10th and 11th. That's mainly the riff for the chorus. Bearing in mind all the notes we've covered, so the third and the fifth down here, the third, 6th, 8th, 11th, and then the notes around here and up here for the chorus, you can interchange any of those in any part of the song really. Sometimes in the rhythm he'll move up and play a small lick up in these sections, but it's mainly down to personal preference. Like I said, after you go through the introduction, which is fairly tight, you can just sort of mess around. After that it goes back into playing the introduction rhythm as an outro, and you play the first riff, you never play the second outro riff of the song. You jump straight from that one to the finishing one, which went. The song finishes quite abruptly, just using that riff there. Just to sum up again, really, it's all improvisation after the introduction, and that's pretty much all I could work out from how to play Elephants by Crooked Vultures.